This is my current workflow for making a YouTube video. The process of making a YouTube video varies from creator to creator. But for me, it all starts with finding a title. Well, more like a working title that might change later. Because at this stage, titles give me direction, but it's more like a rough map than a set path. With a working title in mind, I jot down all my concepts and ideas using notes. I use ChatGPT to help spark ideas, organize my thoughts, and assess whether the concept is workable. From there, I request a script. This typically involves a few rounds of refining the prompts and requesting multiple versions of script, until I have one that serves as my initial draft. Afterward, I make further adjustments until both the script and narration are finalized. This step can take days, sometimes even a week, to craft a smooth and well-structured script. But doing so helps ensure the storyline remains rich and organized. Since primarily I create vlogs about my daily life, I don't usually prepare a short list or storyboard. Instead, I dive straight into filming, relying on the narration storyline, guiding me on what scenes to capture. Before filming, I make sure everything is prepared. I plan my outfit, clear the space of clutter, and gather any props that I might need. Occasionally, when I have a clear idea of the subject matter, I'll be filming even before the narration is finalized. I pre-shoot certain scenes as they happen. Mostly, I work with natural light, as I haven't quite figured out how to use artificial lighting yet. So I typically film during the day, unless the scene specifically requires nighttime shots. And since my channel is mostly about what I do at home, and so I film at home most of the time. During filming, I pay close attention to shot composition, experimenting with basic framing techniques like the rule of thirds, perfect symmetry, leading lines, negative space, depth of field. And one of my favorite techniques recently is the frame within the frame. I like to capture multiple angles of an action, close-ups, mid-shots, and wide shots, to give myself more options during editing. If the scene requires it, I'll even wait for the right weather. For instance, if I'm aiming for a sunny vibe, I'll set up my camera and wait until the sun is at the perfect angle. I use a Sony a7 III camera, typically paired with a Sigma 28-70mm f2.8 lens, a Nisi 1/8 black mist filter for that film-like halation effect, and a Sennheiser MKE 200 mic for audio recording. When filming myself talking, I sometimes supplement the audio with a Rode Wireless Me mic for better voice capture. Since I film on my own, a tripod is a must. Occasionally, I also use a basic slider for making moving shots. I also use different lenses, such as a wide-angle lens, when I need to capture the full scope of a scene. I shoot in Picture Profile 7 or S-Log 2. and in 4K. And because I shoot in S-Log2 and the footages would appear flat and desaturated, and also that I don't have a separate monitor, I turn on the Gamma Display Assist so that I can see a more vibrant and contrasty image on my camera screen. I also slightly overexpose the footage, around +2 stops, to give myself more flexibility during color grading. After filming, it's time to edit. I start by uploading everything into Final Cut Pro, working from my laptop with an external SSD in an NVMe enclosure that is equipped with Thunderbolt connection. Now, speed is crucial because I store and edit all my files directly on an external drive rather than on my computer. And I find this SSD and NVMe setup to be more cost-effective. Where possible, I delete old files and footages and clear generated files once I'm done to free up storage space to run faster. Also, I'm considering investing in a NAS system at home for better long-term storage. I organize my footages by projects, and I create a new library in Final Cut each time when I start a new project. I'll also record my narration. I use a Shure MV7 mic and a Sennheiser Momentum 3 to listen in, and I record in GarageBand. I aim to get the tone and pace just right, which can take multiple tries. Sometimes I use an initial working narration, which I occasionally redo later to match the visuals better.
I always choose music first, as it sets the mood for the entire video.
I always choose music first, as it sets the mood for the entire video. I subscribe to a music platform, and I get all my music and sound effects from there. Choosing music can be quite a journey though. This process can sometimes take hours or days, because after a while, all the tracks start to sound the same. Occasionally, I also record my own sound effects for the most realistic experience. Then, I drag footages into the project timeline and begin editing. I work chronologically, section by section, like introduction section, and so on. I throw in an adjustment layer and apply an S-Log2 to Rec 709 LUT, which will show me the colors of the clips properly.
Then a set path.
I like to trim down the footages according to the beat and sections of the track. While I aim for aesthetically pleasing compositions, filming alone without a monitor means I don't always get them in camera. In post-production, I adjust by rotation, scaling, and repositioning the subject on the X and Y axis to achieve the composition I want. I also apply some basic cut techniques like match cuts, jump cuts, cross cuts, and since I filmed several shots of the same action, I cut on action to make the scene more interesting. I pay attention to sound, making sure the sound and visuals are working well together. Sometimes I enhance the sound of the scene by using downloaded sound effects like rain, birds chirping, and where necessary, I also use risers and whoosh to build up tension to an action.
Hello?
I used to put a lot of effort into learning and trying to make creative transitions or techniques, such as this. But now I prefer to keep things simple. I edit each clip and add music, sound effects, and narration as I go. Reshooting and re-recording happen along the way if I spot anything that feels off. This editing could take a day or 2 to 3 days, depending on the complexity of the project. When I reach the end of the video, I adjust the volume and clean up any background noise. Then I do color grading, mostly adjusting saturation, enhancing shadows, and brightening up scenes for a polished look. I also add in the Final Cut inbuilt film grains, playing around 40 to 50% to get a more cinematic look. Finally, I normalize the loudness to -16 LUFS and -1.5 dB true peak. Once editing is complete, I finalize the video title, description, and tags, and then create a thumbnail on Canva. After a long process of planning, shooting, and editing, I upload my video to the platform and hit publish to share with all of you. And that's it. That's my current process of creating my videos, which might change after a while. Every video takes a lot of time and effort, but it's always worth it.